Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you all the new legendaries and pearlescents added in Borderlands 4's raid boss number 2, Subjugator and Thol the Invincible. There are 9 new pearlescents and 9 new legendaries, with 5 of these being class mods, 4 of them being dedicated drops from this section. One of the pearlescents is a drop that'll come from this boss, where 8 of them are now world drops from different Ordinate events, and you can actually get them from a variety of different loot sources. So we'll be breaking down all the new weapons that have been added, including some fan favorites. We now have the HERALD, similar to the unkept HERALD. We also have things like the Juliet Sparkle, Jailbroken Gatling, which is the dedicated drop from Subjugator and Thol the Invincible. We have a couple snipers with the Seeping Abyss and the Solar Temper here. We also have the Gomie, which is a Jacob's assault rifle, the Parasite SMG, and the Screwstonian, and the Jacob shotgun, the Constable, which is kind of interesting. Now for legendaries, there's ones called the Lockjaw, which is a Torg assault rifle here, which is droppable from the Subjugator and Thol. I'll also be covering all the different roles. I farmed these for many hours. I want to just put out a video to cover as many bases as possible to give you guys the most up-to-date information on all these weapons. In addition to the legendaries, we also got another one, the Shammy Kablammy, which is a pistol that covers targets in hot moonshine. And the other 2 legendaries that have been added, aside from the class mods, which we'll cover at the end of this video for obvious reasons, we got the Collector here, which can have an actually massive capacity. I've seen some people getting over like 300,000 on this. And also a new heavy ordnance with the Flak Cannon, which is honestly a pretty funny new weapon because it functions kind of like some of the other assault or the other heavy ordnances of the game, but it's like a shotgun version of it. The damage is obviously like not super crazy because I'm going against the new hardest boss in the game in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7, so I will be showcasing this against a little bit of an easier boss just to make it easier to showcase the differences in power these weapons have, as this boss is really not that great for showcasing weapons. I tried it already and I'm refilming this video because it was not that great. But yeah, this is a really sweet birthday gift. Raid boss number 2, adding in the new raid boss, the 4 new legendaries, which I just covered, 1 new pearlescent, and there's 8 pearlescents added to world drops. That's more than doubling the amount of pearlescents we now have in the game, which I think is really cool. We also have those 5 new class mods and Ultimate Vault Hunter level 7. And next month, we're actually getting some pretty big updates because we're getting the first Takedown and Bounty Pack 3. Now, there is a little bit of information that Gearbox just released, and Child of Terramorphous. This is huge, so that is likely going to be the next Takedown here. I'm really looking forward to this. And I quickly want to note that this is not currently in the game. It'll be likely added in that next update. Now, I'll first start off with the dedicated drop from Subjugator Thol, and I do have a video on how to take them down and get the platinum time, and I'll have that linked in the comments if you're curious. But this one is interesting because it pretty much is gonna come with the Jacobs and the shotgun ammo loader, which are 2 of the best rolls you can possibly get on a gun. So these are all stock. They did make a change recently to pearlescents that have them come like all pretty much similar to each other. You can see the DPS depends on the type of damage type, but as per pearls, they can come with 1 elemental damage type and roll to another. The best one is going to depend on the build that you're running, but typically kinetic is still pretty solid of a damage type to have, as well as radiation. So the thing is, this is the Jailbroken modifier. So on hit, gain a stack of backfire. For every stack, you gain additional fire rate and increased chance to fire off additional projectiles. I'm going to use Corporal Brendan here. He's just one of the easier ones to showcase. And this is in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. I'm not going to put it in true mode just so you guys get an idea of the actual damage. And it's going against the shock shields here now. You can see here the damage is pretty solid. It does scale up its fire rate a little bit there, as you can see. That's in the SMG mode. So switching it into shotgun mode, it does obviously slow things down a bit, but the damage potential from this goes through the roof. It's much higher here. This weapon is pretty solid, honestly. And if you've watched any of my previous videos going against this boss, we're now using it obviously with the Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 scaling. So this is pretty fast damage, honestly, and you can see the bullets kind of home in on the target if you're aiming there, so this is pretty nice. Honestly, this gun is honestly decent as far as SMGs go. I can see this being a powerful one in a variety of different builds. Basically a fast-firing shotgun, so if you're playing characters such as Harlowe, who wants to get their confirmed of reality to get their action skill back, or any of her teammates, so if you're playing with a Harlowe, this weapon's going to shred. And obviously they can come with a variety of different parts. You can get 30 ammo or 38 on it. And I'll just mouse through some of the ones that I have here. You can pause if you want to read a little bit closer, but for the most part, yeah, they're all quite similar as to the change to the pearlescents here. This is a fine weapon, I think, honestly, pretty good for a reward from this hard boss. And for each of these weapons, I'll also try to compare to a weapon that's already in the game if there's a notable comparison. I personally prefer the Dark Beast. You can see it has a lower DPS potential than this weapon, but with a Dark Beast that has the Jacobs and the Daedalus shotgun loader on it, the damage per second is a lot higher on this weapon. So it's still really good to have this weapon here. It's strong, but Between these two, it's kind of tough because the Dark Beast will also pierce and do an explosion, so it can take out vial or any type of crystals on enemies. But still, the jailbroken Gatling is a great weapon. Having that increased fire rate is pretty nice as well. Next, I'll show off, I think, my favorite weapon, and the weapon I know a lot of people are looking forward to, with the Herald. Now, the modifier on this is called Unkept, and this one, it functions very similar to the Herald, the Unkept Herald. This is Herald with the E. And someone crashed into my comments yesterday saying this weapon is not the same. It is meant to be. Obviously, it's uncapped and it's heralded and functions much the same. This can come with a variety of different roles, like the Turbine Cleaver here. You can come with a COV licensed magazine, which is kind of cool for those that like that with the enhancements that give you crit rate. You can get Ripper parts on it. You can also have it be stickies. And that roll doesn't come stock on it like some of the others here. So yeah, a lot of the times you will see it does come with the sticky license. It can also come with the TDR Merv throw, which is nice because that speeds up the reload speed quite a bit. And as per usual, it does have all the different elemental damage rolls. So I'll showcase one here with the Ripper magazine, and then I'll also show off the corrosive one here. And just like it always was, has this awesome look to it. So it's a close range one. This is one that you definitely want to get up close whenever you're using, because it does split off into 3, 5, and 7, similar to the other Herald. The damage from this is pretty solid, all things considered. It is, again, one that you're going to want to be up close while using. I'll throw my skill there so that you can see it in a little bit more of its glory. Action skill for Harlowe, if you use the green skill tree, you now have to jump in order to get it to work properly. But yeah, you can see there, the damage from this thing is nuts. And also showed off with the stickies. Now, stickies were nerfed quite a bit to only give 200% damage on a reload. So, well, that's still pretty good. That's like 2 full magazines. The damage is a little bit slower unless you're using any of the buffs. I do have something on my weapon here, or I do have a enhancement that's going to be boosting up my damage with explosives and with the pistols here. So that's the sticky ones there. They are a little bit tricky to use. I honestly prefer just the regular old impact at this point, just because the damage is so high. But yeah, as you can see, the damage numbers from this are nuts. I will show you the enhancement I have rolling on this just to give you the maximum damage output possible, but that's an Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. That is pretty quick there. I am loving the Torque pistols they've been releasing. So this one here, if you get it with the Stud Finder, that's going to increase the damage on impact of stickies. That's great, but it's the damage and explosion radius that I like the most on this. And I also got to give it increased pistol damage, which is a pistol. So this can come with Jacobs, but it can come with a Ripper, and I think the Ripper would be the most ideal role for this. I have one here that's just kinetic with the shock override. That's probably my favorite role for it. From all the ones that I've grinded out, I think that's a very solid weapon. And it actually comes with a variety of damage numbers. Like this one's got 13k DPS, whereas that one's only 7k DPS or 15k. So a variety of different parts on this weapon make it a very solid and fun one. Kind of similar to the Crow Source, which added in the last DLC. Now, next up, we got Juliet Sparkle here. Now, this one's cool because you have a 33% chance for Stars of Fall dealing damage. And the best part about this is you can get the shotgun roll on it, which means that you got a lot of chances to trigger that. Now, this one also can come with Jacobs parts on it, which is great. It also can come with the Daedalus loader with either sniper, shotgun obviously being the best. It's funny, everything turns, it's kind of like carcinization, where everything in the Animal Kingdom turns into a crab, everything in builds turns into shotgun Daedalus, so that's the best roll for this. But it can come with some other types of rolls, like pistol ammo, so you're always going to have that Daedalus on it. It's a Maliwan, so Maliwan weapons actually got a buff on the last patch here, and Jacobs is always a good thing to have on your weapons, especially when they're Maliwan. And here it is with the shock override against this boss here. The damage from this is pretty crazy in the SMG mode, but turning it into the assault rifle mode, I don't have one that has got shock with the shotgun. Unfortunately, I was grinding it out for quite some time, but yeah, you can see those stars flying through the enemy. That's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of the Convergence shotgun here. So once I get through this health bar, I'll then swap over. And this one here has the shotgun mode, so you can see the damage from this is much higher. So obviously shotgun roll would be the most ideal if you can get one with the ideal 2 damage types on it. So yeah, pretty solid weapon overall. I do like this one. It's got cool like VFX on it. Oh my goodness. And overall, I like it. It's not crazy overpowered, but it's a very strong weapon nonetheless. Also, quick note about the last DLC, the Bismuth Tip Dagger is really good. This one can make enemies take more of a specific damage type. Radiation goes crazy on a red Harlowe build who turns all of her damage into radiation, so I highly recommend that if you're looking for some pretty cheesy builds. But yeah, Juliet Sparkle's pretty solid. I would like a kinetic radiation, or really whatever the boss you're typically farming the most. With the new bosses, it's good to have a couple different damage types because they do eat whatever type of elemental damage you put against it. That's for the Subjugator only. Now, I love Jacob's weapons, and we got ourselves now the Gomie, which is kind of funny. I had a friend in university, and his name was Gomie, so this is kind of funny. It can come with Ripper parts and Jacobs. It's typically like the best roll for one of these types of weapons. And the Ascending Storm. On hit, gain a stack of Firestorm. Each stack increases weapon damage by 5%. Reloading will release the Firestorm on nearby enemies. Kind of an interesting effect, and it can come with things like the Daedalus Loader, so you can get the shotgun. I'm not sure. It would probably take a lot of time farming, but you might be able to get a Daedalus, Ripper, and Jacobs. I really don't know. I haven't seen it myself, but you can get the Jacobs and the Daedalus. We're looking for the shotgun loader typically again. And yeah, I haven't found one from all my farming. I'm hopeful that I'll end up finding one eventually because this weapon is pretty cool. And here's the Ripper shock version against this boss. The chaining around is really fun, especially with the Harlowe no longer will get blinded by her own little orbs there. So the damage from this is pretty solid as well. As you can see here, it's pretty good. I think they actually released some solid pearlescents, no stinkers like last time. And then I'll bring out the corrosive one here. This one also has a Ripper part on it. So yeah, pretty solid damage across the board. Nothing insane with this. It's going to increase the damage. And then when you reload, you're going to trigger that Firestorm, which does do a bit of damage there. But it's scaling up the damage every time you shoot at a target. And that's kind of the main purpose of using this weapon, so it's good. I actually like the Gomie quite a bit. I'm always happy to have more Jacobs weapons, especially if they can come with a Ripper part on it as well. Though I don't find that the Firestorm does really much damage at all. It's the scaling up of the damage, especially if you got an infinite ammo build. And next up we got the the Abyss here. This one increases the damage the longer it is charged. If full charge is held too long, it'll do a self-explosion, and it's taken me out. I was testing this against the new bosses, and I lost because of this weapon. It's an interesting concept though. Its damage potential is quite high, as you can see there. It's always going to come with Ripper parts, obviously, but it can come with the Jacobs there pretty much always. Yeah, I think Jacobs is pretty much at this point a guaranteed drop on it. Again, I've been trying to farm out as many of these as possible to see all the possible rolls for them, but yeah, it's an interesting one. It has a backfire. It's probably my least favorite, but I'll show you what that looks like here. So there's the charge up. You got to get it to that full charge. There's some crits with the shock damage version. I fully charged it up there and I took myself out. So yeah, you can kill yourself really easily while using this. So you got to be mindful not to hold it in for too long. You basically want to get it to the perfect amount there and then release. There's a flow to it. If you don't like these type of weapons, it's probably not for you, but you can see that it does do a lot of damage. And this is, I don't even have a corrosive version to be strong against this boss, but as you can see, if I hold it in for too long, one second too long is all it takes for you to get taken out by this. So yeah, it is nice because it's got the Jacobs weapon there. So if you end up going down with this weapon, you can always just do the full charge and just make sure you do it perfectly. You also don't have to fully charge it up either, but yeah, 1, 2, 3, dead. Now, honestly, I think the self-damage is more than fine. I make mods for games, and I'm always trying to come up with like risk versus reward, and that's how I categorize this. There's like risk versus reward, where you're obviously getting a big benefit from doing something, and there's annoying. There's some weapons in Borderlands 4 that have a effect somewhat similar to this, like the Royal SMG, where you have to use the bottom trigger to be able to reduce the amount of heat on that COV weapon. That weapon I categorize as annoying. They actually just fixed it in the latest patch, but this one, I would put it in the risk versus reward. It's a strong weapon, as you guys saw there. It can take out enemies really quickly, even if you don't have the correct damage type associated. You saw that there. It killed just as quickly as the Herald did. So yeah, the Abyss is kind of cool. Following it up, we have an Order sniper rifle with this solar temper. This has a temper ability. On hit, explodes. Exploding radius increases with each charge. So this is an Order weapon, so 2 charged sniper rifles. This one is a little bit different, and it's always going to come with that Order roll, obviously, but it doesn't really come with anything else here. If you're able to find one with a different modifier in it, please let me know, because I got 5 of them here, and nothing, nada, zilch, nada on it. So. And I'll show you here what a shock one ends up looking like against this boss. So it has a little bit of a slower charge. There are some enhancements that are really nice for Order, but I don't really have one at the current moment to showcase it. It'll always come with a 15-round magazine as well. And you can see the damage is pretty okay, like if you're able to get a headshot off the 5 charge, but at this point, I'd probably rather use the other sniper rifle that they added, because the damage from that is just a lot higher and a little bit less of an annoyance to use. You just have to watch out for the self damage. So between the 2 new sniper rifles, both of them having a charge mechanic is kind of cool, with one of them being a little bit more impactful. This one's like the safer option, but I just find that Order weapons are a little bit annoying to charge up. This would be good with the new firmware that was added to the game. So if you're looking to enhance your build that way, this would be pretty good for it. But again, just don't like the way that firmware is. That you have to farm it for so long, and they did fix the firmware UI, but I still find it to be quite clunky to move firmware around. So yeah. Actually, saying I didn't love the Abyss. The Abyss is a lot better. It's like double the amount of damage and a quicker fire rate as well. Solar Temper is a cool concept. I just find that order weapons, you have to really set up and specialize your build for an order weapon to get the most out of them. So that's not really my favorite. I do like the Abyss a lot more in terms of the overall damage output. And next up, we got the Vladov Parasite SMG. This one is another one that can come with a variety of different rolls, and the DPS numbers are all over the place. This one's got 11k, this one's got 20k. So it can come with alt fires on it, but basically the effects of this is the Devour. Hitting enemies with the Locust rockets increases their damage taken from Parasite's primary fire for 12 seconds. Killing an affected enemy with the primary fire grants overshield and refills 50% of the magazine. I can see this being really good because it can come with the COV parts on it, so for those that like the COV builds, this could be actually pretty solid on it. But it always comes with that alt fire, so hitting enemies with those rockets will increase the damage from our primary fire. So typically you want to do that. It's kind of makes sense. It's a Parasite. You're going to hit it with first it's the rockets of the Locusts and then go into the others. And fun fact, Locusts are actually grasshoppers that got angry from rubbing against each other a lot. So yeah, basically when using this, we want to put our alt fire off first, fire off those Locusts, and then blast away the main fire. Now, you can see the damage is not like crazy compared to the other ones here that we've showcased thus far. It's still decent, all things considered, but not like kind of crazy. So you do need to get the Locust on it first to get a good amount of damage going. I like the beams on this weapon. I think that looks cool with the fast fire rate. I'll switch it over to the corrosive one here and then go ahead with the Locust alt fire first, which homes it on the target, and then you blast away with it. So the damage from this is not that bad. It's just not like as high as some of the other weapons. Like if you got the Herald or the Abyss here, those are gonna be much higher. But yeah, you can see that it does do the trick quite, it works. It's just not as crazy as some of the other weapons that we've released. And even from the last DLC where we had crazy things like the Flash Cyclone. This is cool. I think it's an all right weapon. It can come with a variety of different rolls, and it can also come with stickies. So if you like stickies, even after their nerf, it's available on this. It can come with a TDR roll. It can come with Ripper parts on it, COV. It can come with Jacobs as well. So yeah, this one's got a lot of different parts. And again, it can have upwards of 20k DPS. I don't have any god rolls here, I don't think. Honestly, I never really use them for my builds. I just don't like using min-max gear because then people start getting upset. People even get upset with me using status effect application chance and ordnance cooldown rate. Like I have sometimes some of the worst possible gear in my builds just because I don't want to farm for hundreds of hours to get that perfect roll, and I don't use modded gear like some other people. So just want to quickly put that out there. The Parasite though, it's all right. I think it's a cool concept though. Now next up, this is the weapon I found the least of, the Screwstonian. I like the name, but this is a weird one. It's got screwed up, so after consecutive bursts, fire rate is reduced and damage is increased for 4 bursts. This makes it shoot really weird and screwed up. It can come with a variety of rolls. It'll always seemingly come with Jacobs. I only have 5 of them. Maybe I got lucky and got Jacobs on all 5. It is a dataless weapon, and with that, it also can come with like the Hyperion licensed grip, and it seems like that is one that's seemingly on all of them as well. So this is another one that's like some of the other pearls, just has a dedicated drop, but you can see here some damage variation on them, like 11k, 12k, 15k, 13k. And another funny thing about this weapon is that, yeah, it's also going to come with a ammo swapper. So you do have to inspect it to see this ammo type that comes with it. So you press Y on PC. It can come with a pistol swapper. I'm assuming shotgun. I've only seen the assault rifle and pistol one, so maybe that is the only 2 that it rolls with. Let me know in the comments. Again, I was hunting these for hours upon hours, trying to find every single possible roll, and I've only found pistol and assault rifle. And I didn't want this video to come out a few days later. I was really working hard to get as many of the possible rolls so you guys can see what's possible with these. It just seems like those are the only 2 rolls here, but what this ends up looking like in practice, from my testing, like the damage is not really that crazy. You can see that it shoots at a variety of rates, because after you do a few bursts, it's going to end up changing the fire rate, increasing the damage, but the damage from this isn't crazy high. That's the assault ammo version. I'll swap it over to the pistol ammo version. They may have just not put this as a shotgun loader on purpose because of how powerful it is, but you can see there, the damage isn't really that crazy. There's nothing to call home about. So this one I'm using right now is shock and corrosive, so both types are good against this boss, and we're having quite the long time to kill. So as mentioned, yeah, I'm using the infinite crit Harlowe here just to make things all stabilized so I don't end up having better aiming on one section of this video and less good aiming on the other. I chose Harlowe, just she's one of the strongest characters in the game right now and best to showcase this, but as you can see, nothing crazy here. I'll switch it back to the assault rifle ammo, which Sometimes the bullets, again, they increase in the overall damage, but it's really not that great, if I'm being honest. It's a cool concept. I like the fire rate, so you can see here, shoots slowly and then shoots faster, and yeah, it's okay. And the final pearlescent is the Constable. I'll let you guys be the judge of this one. It's kind of funny. It comes with the lethal deterrent. It's funny. So you can get this in a variety of obviously different elementals. It can go upwards of like 19k DPS. I'm sure it goes higher, and low is like 11k, I think, or 10.8. So yeah, it can come. It is always going to be a Jacob's weapon here, and I have not seen any other rolls on it. So let me know if you're able to find one. I just don't think that it comes that way. It's just going to be a Jacob's, and you guys will see how this works. It's a close range shotgun for sure. So basically, when you shoot it creates these little orbs that stick into the air. So I'll shoot off in the air so you can see them. These little orbs will just stick in the area of effect. So if you got a bunch of enemies in an area, it can be pretty good. If you're up close, it's obviously pretty solid because then you got the ricochets going around, leaving these everywhere. So I'm sure there's actually some builds that can actually utilize this very well. I don't have perfect damage rolls. This is cool though. It's absolute trash against the new bosses though, from my experience. I was testing this one a bunch. It's good on close range like a lot of shotguns are. It just doesn't have like the long range effects of the other ones there. Pretty cool though. You really do benefit from having like a critical hit build though, because that's going to be how it generates all those extra orbs. I can see this being good against bosses that move around a lot, like Origo, especially if you get like the shock version on there. The damage is cool. I actually think this is a decent weapon, all things considered, especially if you got a way to get infinite ammo and infinite crits like the green Harlowe build here. I'll have linked in the comments. It's an interesting weapon. I like that they've been adding in some new weapons that are different, like the one from the newest DLC, which has those orbs that fly out and fly back in. That weapon sucked. This one, it's all right. I just want to give a special shout out to the Hellwalker shotgun. This got a buff on like the second last patch that we had. This weapon is insane against the new boss that got added. I'm gonna wham, bam, the Shammy Kablammy. This weapon is interesting. It can come with Jacobs and Ripper. I'm super lucky to get that pearlescent drop. Holy crap. What it does is it's got the Kablammy here. Douses enemies in hot moonshine. On reload, throw an explosive projectile that deals a portion of its damage as bonus incendiary damage to doused enemies. Bonus damage scales with the amount of doused enemies hit in the explosion. This could be really good if there's a lot of enemies grouped up. Hopefully we'll get more mobs and bosses that are, you know, good against this. Its damage is like all over the place again. Like this best roll I got is roughly around 12k damage. I was only able to find 4 of them. Now legendary drop rates have been increased. I was running through and just looking for a pearlescent, so I left a lot of legendaries on the ground just in the interest of time and getting as many of these weapons as possible for you guys. But yeah, they actually boosted up a lot of the damage rolls or a lot of the legendary drop rates. And this weapon is also TDR, so quick reloads. And here's what this one looks like. So I got the Ripper Jacobs on it. It's gonna dose them in that hot moonshine, which I think is hilarious. And yeah, you got all right damage going off on this, but basically what you want to be doing is make it so that it's going to give you that reload. So throwing it there, damage is okay. You typically want to try and get as many enemies as possible. Easier said than done, but the mobs in the new DLC do, you know, there's a lot of them in an area of effect. Damage is okay. So that is the best roll. I'll show you one that's not a Ripper Jacobs here, just to give an idea of a more regular roll. I only had one of them with the Ripper Jacobs. But yeah, it's a fully auto pistol, and it's cool. I like the shape and design of it, but damage potential, not crazy. Jacobs and Ripper, it does become a little bit better. It's nice to have a Jacobs, Ripper, and TDR here, but I'm sure there may be some different rolls that can come on this weapon. I just was only able to find those ones currently, and I'm not sure if this will be like crazy good or not. It seems like they're allergic to making TDR weapons amazing. Like, I don't know if there's been one that's been really big of a standout in this game. From what I know, unless you're using like the Chuck on like a TDR throwing Rafa build, which just got nerfed on the last patch. Yeah, I don't see this one being one that you're going to use that often, but it's a cool concept, I guess. I thought the hot moonshine is pretty funny, and it's a teeter, so you can do that to yourself pretty easily. This raid boss didn't give us anything as crazy as Bloom Reaper the Invincible gave us with the mantra, especially we got the Ripper Jacobs and Mollywan Swapper with Radiation Cryo. I love this weapon. We don't have anything. They actually buffed up the mantra to now work on certain Rafa skills that previously didn't. And the last legendary gun that we got was the Lockjaw. Now this can come with Jacobs, it can come with Ripper as well. It's a Torg weapon, and it's kind of funny because on hit it bounced up to 4 nearby enemies. So it can come with a variety again of different different damage types. So this one's got 14k. Seemingly always a 20 round magazine unless you got with the COV parts here. So it's cool. I think this is a fun one, but I'll let you be the judge. Kind of looks like an alien weapon of sorts. So full fire rate there. I'm gonna switch to, this is my highest possible damage one here. So it kind of has like a Jacob's effect built in where all those explosions are going to bounce around to multiple enemies. One thing that I did like about this DLC is that they actually made the Pearlescents feel strong. We had previous ones where the Pearlescents were pretty crap and the Legendaries were better. So this is cool that they made the Legendaries good. What works best is having obviously the Jacob's roll there because it's great at clearing out mobs. This would be like an ideal mobbing weapon. For bosses, it's just not that great. Even I have the enhancement currently equipped that boosts up the Torg explosion radius. It's not really doing a whole lot of anything, but you saw there, we took out the enemies across the room there pretty quickly. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay at best. I'm just gonna go move on to the next one here. It's okay. We got the Flak Cannon. This is the newest heavy ordnance that we got. So this one's got a pretty high DPS of 41k. It's flak and good. It basically is like the it's like some of the other heavy ordinances that shoot like a minigun type weapon, but it's more so like a shotgun. So what this looks like in practice, I'm gonna shoot. Actually, I'll throw that out first so that we get the infinite ammo on it. Harlowe has an infinite ammo build too. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, this is what it looks like getting right up in their face with the shotgun. It has those like pellets that fly off the enemy here. We're gonna see it shred the health bar in just 1 second here as we start to get into the, yeah, there we go. This thing is actually pretty solid. I like it. It's a fun new heavy ordnance, and I'm hopeful that they add even more because heavy ordnance Amon just kind of sucks against the new bosses, and he needs some new toys to play with. And the last legendary item before we get to class mods is the Collector, which is kind of funny because, as mentioned, you can get like upwards of 300k shield on this. When the shields are active, you'll regenerate health, and it's actually a pretty solid amount of health regeneration. It doesn't count if you have like an overshield. It has to be your full shield's fully regenerated, so it's a bit trickier to use because look at that timing. It has a 9.5 second cooldown before your shield recharges. Counter that to the Watch for Dinner with his 1.7 seconds. You got a problem here on your hands. This one has a 7.9 seconds, so that is a little bit challenging. This one is with the increased capacity and the recharge delay. If you get a turtle shield, this would be pretty crazy, but this one's just with how shields work. I think it's cool, and it's good that it's able to heal you, but I do feel like we do have better shields in the game, and they kind of trap themselves similar to the V shield with the Watch for Dinner just being best in slot in pretty much every situation because it gives you bonus shock damage. The Protein Cell being nice too for the 40% bonus shock damage, but it's a lot riskier to use. So Watch for Dinner still reigns supreme. The Collector, it's cool though. Now getting into class mods, this is something I will be testing, and I'll be putting out new builds for all the new all the characters updated for the new items that are added in the DLC. I want to go over some of these though, because they're kind of interesting. Now, Plasmaphile here for Harlowe. This one, I don't know how I feel about it, because stasis definitely needs some type of buff. The best way is to get use out of stasis is to actually take stasis. If you wanted to use the action skill, which is good against mobs, not really against bosses, you want to spec into the other skill trees that Harlowe has to get the most out of it. This can come with some different roles though, mostly in the red skill tree. So it can give you elementary, giving you increased elemental damage and status effect. It gives you practical applications for increased skill damage. And it can also give you 2 coolant for schooling, which will give you an additional action skill cooldown rate whenever you deal cryo damage. Now, with Harlowe, she's got confirmed with reality. She doesn't really need any of these other abilities to get her action skill back, so that's cool. And typically these have 4 skills that they can roll into. From all the ones that I've got, I've only seen 3. So let me know if there is another skill that it can roll into. So yeah, whenever you use stasis, it deals bonus cryo damage and area damage. Area damage in this game is pretty awful, I'll be honest. To enemies, an additional bonus radiation area damage to enemies immune to stasis. So even against the bosses, I did try this briefly. I didn't find it to be working that great. It'll always come with the 29% at level 60 for action skill cooldown rate, which again, she doesn't need. She has confirmed with reality, which is so much better. So green skill tree Harlowe is still the best. Blue skill tree Harlowe is still one of the worst in the game. Asterisk, unless you put it into the green skill tree as well. Speaking of bad skill trees, Vex, her red skill tree is very weak. This one, Grim Sister, will give you increased damage dealt the longer Incarnate is active. During this, doubling the bonus action skill damage. Additionally, when Incarnate ends, she causes a phase explosion, which is similar to what the Incarnate does. The big thing about this is the green skill tree perk, Mortal Terror. This is something that is so amazing because it has a chance to activate your kill skills. So this can further increase your kill skill activation rate. This opens up the builds for Vex quite a bit, but it comes with a stock action skill duration increase, which is not like super crazy. The phase explosion is kind of cool because that could give you your witchy trigger figure ammo back. The increased damage dealt the longer Incarnate is active will actually scale off that increased duration, so that kind of works out decently well. The skill rolls are quite nice. Guess what I meant to say is the red skill tree skills are not like super amazing. Shocking Attunement is okay. Whenever she's attuned to shock, she gets increased movement speed and gun damage while moving. Oddly enough, we've been adding a lot of skills while you're moving or gliding. It also comes with Grave Sustenance, which is a kill skill, which will restore a percentage of your miss and action skill duration, so you can stay in a little bit longer. Now, that's a build that I've been working with and using as a green with a little bit of red there, but it's really that Mortal Terror. So I would have wished this was for like the blue or the red skill trees more so, because that means you could actually use this and activate your kill skills a little bit easier. Even 5% is more than enough. This will let you not spec into this middle skill tree and opens builds up quite a bit actually, which is kind of cool in that regard. But yeah, this is I don't have like perfect rolls on it either, but it's cool. It's more so DPS focused, but in all honesty, I still think the best class mod for Vex is like the Teen Witch here, because with the Teen Witch, you just have so much more lifesteal and survivability, which there is a lifesteal prevention on the new boss, but hey, it's still fine to bypass for most of the situations. It's only on Thol's like middle phase of the game, so nothing crazy. I still think this ends up being the best, as lifesteal is so crazy. It's one of the best class mods ever released, so they'll have a hard time topping this. So Cash's new class mod, the Prestidigitator here. So whenever Cash critically hits an enemy while Windfall is not active, he gains a stack of Prestidigitator. Whenever Cash critically hits an enemy while Windfall is active, he gains 2% per stack of Prestidigitator to throw cards from his deck, consuming 20% of his stacks. Once Windfall ends, he loses all of these stacks. This is kind of interesting, and it'll also come with gun critical hit chance. Amazing. This doesn't count towards his cards, as they did change some of his skills to not trigger on all of his abilities, but it does give you your Huckleberry, which gives you increased critical hit damage. That's always a nice thing to have. We always want more crit damage. It can also give you rolls into Tormented, so Cash and his companions deal increased critical hit damage, and this bonus will also be increased against jinxed enemies. You can actually apply Jinx pretty easily. With the Gamer class mod getting quite a nerf, that's a nice change. It also gives you rolls into Tender Hearts, so this will gain increased critical hit damage. In a Windfall skill, when Windfall is active, Cash gains a chance to critically hit with all action skills, so that is cool. They also did make a little change to this class skill at the yesterday's patch, so yeah, with the Gamer mod getting reduced in its overall effectiveness, this is one that's honestly not too shabby. We'll be playing around with this a little bit more to see what builds this really works best on. Now, Amon's class mods, I need to farm more of them here to get a real good idea. It does come with the Cryo Shards that ricochet off, and it can come with Tritanium Knuckles to give you increased melee and skill damage. But his effects, melee attacks and ordnance damage, can now trigger Bullet Hail, and critical hits double the chance of Bullet Hail. Additionally, Bullet Hail now matches the elemental damage type of the damage that it triggers. From what I've tested, this isn't like super crazy high damage, but hey, we are looking for any and all class mods for Amon that really do boost up his skills, because right now as it stands, purple is his best. I think this is honestly probably one of his best legendaries, but Amon just needs a lot more to just be good outside of a few gimmick builds. So yeah, I'm excited to test this one out a little bit more, as I'm trying to find a good Amon build. Yeah, only so many hours in the day. I am trying my best to get all of this on top and done. Stay tuned for more of that. And Rafa, we got Mr. Bombastic here. The Dancer class mod got a pretty hefty nerf on the last update, and this one's interesting. It's for Apophis lands. When it's active, dealing gunshots partially restores action skill duration and grants a stack of Bombastic. Each stack of Bombastic Apophis lands deals bonus shock damage. This also gives you damage while gliding, which is kind of funny. It always seems to come with the damage while gliding and bonus kinetic damage, so yeah, gliding is good against Bloom Reaper the Invincible, I guess, but that's not something that we're often able to trigger. This one does come with 4 different skills that it can roll into though, and most of them are going to be in the blue skill tree, like First Impression, which will give you that increased damage on the first fired round. They actually fixed this yesterday to now work on data lists. It also gave points into metal management, so whenever Rafa triggers or re-triggers an action skill, his guns will consume no damage for a duration, so you can get that up to now 4 seconds with 2 stacks into that. Al Centro, which will give you increased gun handling. I like that. And it can also give you points into his very bottom capstone skill here, the Cruel Accrual. Rafa gains increased skill damage with all skills. The longer his action skill has been active, the greater the bonus. So up to max 20 stacks here. So yeah, that's pretty solid. It's not a overdrive skill, so it does have like its limitations, but one of Rafa's best builds right now is Apophis Lance using like an underbarrel to just do crazy amounts of damage. I'm sure that'll probably end up getting nerfed at some point, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately. I'm hoping for more Rafa buffs, because after the devastating nerf to the Dancer, losing over 200% gun damage and a huge amount of fire rate, he definitely needs something else. And yeah, Frugal Bombastic, pretty funny, but that is all the new weapons, pearls, and legendaries in the Borderlands newest DLC. Sorry I wasn't able to get a lot of testing done on the class mods. There's just so much to do, and the one I've been playing mostly Harlowe so that I could grind out the new bosses as much as possible. Harlowe seems to be one of the better ones at dealing with this boss. Cash actually struggles a bit, so hopefully we'll see some more buffs to the characters. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments. Have yourself a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.